Redirect?
Just briefly, when the guy with the T-shirts came into your room on September 10th at 5 o'clock in the morning, or shortly after 5 o'clock in the morning, did you get a good look at him?
No.
He's the one that told you not to look, keep your face down?
Yes.
Did he have long sleeves on?
Yes, he did.
You mentioned about hearing 3 shots.
Yes.
Was it the first shot that hit you?
The first shot hit me.
And tell me about your hearing when you heard that, when that first shot hit you.
There's intense ringing in your ear, almost like a high-frequency buzz that just echoes through your ears.
And how long did that last?
Several.
Could you tell whether there was a shot while your ears were ringing?
I don't think I'd be able to know.
And in terms of the house looking the same, the first home invasion happened at 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon?
Somewhere between 12:30 and 1, yes.
And the second one happened, was nighttime?
Yeah, it was the wee hours of the morning.
The sun hadn't come up yet.
No.
Thank you. I have no further.
Thank you. Ma'am, you may step down. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please be very careful on those steps. They're steep. Call your next witness.
Next witness is Remington Campos.
Okay. Remington Campos?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Have a seat. If you would adjust that microphone so it's close to your mic, and you want to lean in, you want to be about 2 inches from it, 2 to 3 inches, and you may need to scoot forward. The chair doesn't move at all.
Yeah, okay.
If you would introduce yourself to the jury and spell your name for the benefit of the court reporter, both your first name and your last name.
My name is Remington Campos, R-E-M-I-N-G-T-O-N. Last name Campos, C-A-M-P-O-S.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, sir. The young lady who just testified, do you know who she is?
My sister Brienna.
How much older or younger than Brienna are you?
3 years.
3 years older?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware that there was a home invasion robbery? You heard about a home invasion robbery that occurred on May 9th of 2012?
Yes, it happened while I was at work.
You weren't home for any of that, right?
No.
Okay. Were you, however, living at 503 Bernardino Drive at that time?
Yes, I was.
You just weren't home when any of that happened?
Correct, I wasn't home.
So the only thing you know about that home invasion robbery is what people told you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to September 10th, or September 9th, September 10th of 2012. Were you living at 503 Bernardino Drive?
Yes, I was.
And were you home at that time?
I was sleeping at the time.
Do you remember about what time it was that you went to sleep that night?
I'd say probably around 2 a.m.
2 a.m., and so this would be September 10th after midnight.
September 10th.
Okay. And which bedroom did you sleep in?
The master bedroom,
All
the
right.
southeast.
All right, and that's on the other side of the house from Brienna's, is that right?
Correct.
When you went to sleep, did you know who was in the house at that time?
I know Brienna was there. I can't recall if Alex made it back when I went to bed. He used my car and took my brother to his friend's house for school the next morning.
Okay, so before you went to sleep, Alex, and that's Alex Zaldivar?
Yes.
He was a roommate of yours, right?
Yeah.
And he took your car, took Brandon, your younger brother, to a friend's house, and then was going to be coming back. Is that
Correct.
Okay, you just don't know whether, when you went to sleep, if he'd come back or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anybody else in the house when you went to sleep that night, to your knowledge?
No.
So it was just you and Brienna and maybe Alex had come?
Yeah.
Okay, Brandon you knew wasn't there.
No, yeah, he was not there.
And nobody else, those are the 4 people that lived in the house at that time, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So you're in your bedroom, is the door closed?
Door was closed.
Were you wearing anything when you went to sleep?
No.
Did something happen to wake you up?
About 5, the dog started to bark. It woke me up to a degree, and I heard Alex's phone playing music. So I figured, you know, I don't know, the dogs were barking or playing with him. I don't know. He stays up all night and completes schoolwork, you know.
Okay, so you heard Alex's phone, you say?
Yeah, he was listening to music on his phone.
Okay. Did you hear Alex's voice or him speaking?
No, just the phone playing music.
Okay. Is Alex's bedroom near yours?
He's just north of my bedroom,
On the same side of the house?
on the same side of the house.
Okay. So you hear this noise from music from Alex's phone. You hear the dogs barking, you said?
Yeah, and it wasn't odd for him to be up at that morning.
It wasn't odd for the dog?
No, for him to be up at that
Up
morning.
roused.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened then?
I laid back down once the dog stopped barking, and my bedroom door was kicked in, and a black guy with dreads, small short dreads, was pointing a gun at me and walking over to my bed.
And this guy with the short dreads, could you tell anything about his build?
A heavier set guy, wearing like a black long sleeve shirt with maybe some moss
Okay.
colored shorts.
All right. So he kicks in your door, and could you tell what race he was? Black, white, anything?
He was black.
Okay. Did he have a weapon?
He had a Glock pistol.
A Glock pistol?
A Glock pistol.
How do you know it was a Glock pistol?
I own a Glock.
All right. Can you describe to us what a Glock is?
The semi-automatic pistol, polymer frame, some type of coating, like not a powder coat, but there's a certain aesthetics to the paint on the frame of a Glock slide that I recognize, along with the polymer frame.
Okay, so you believe this to be a Glock pistol.
Correct.
So he's, what, pointing the gun at you?
Pointing it directly at me, telling me to shut the fuck up. Gets me at it, yeah.
So what happens then?
He grabs me out of bed, stands up, he hits me in the back of the head with a pistol, and just puts the gun in my back and walks me out into the kitchen.
Okay, now you're walking into the kitchen.
Walking out of my bedroom door, making a left into the kitchen, which is somewhat like a hallway, and into the living room.
Okay, so you have to walk through the kitchen from your bedroom to get into the living room.
Yeah.
All right, he's holding a gun on you while he's doing that?
Yes.
He's, what, behind you?
Behind me with a gun in my back.
Okay, do you see anything as you're walking through the kitchen?
To my left, there's a guy, skinnier build, holding an AK-47 to his left, so he's right-handed, with long dreads, standing there in the shadow next to the dining room table in the kitchen.
Okay,
to my
now was
left.
it dark in the kitchen?
Yeah, it was dark in the kitchen.
So you could see this guy had a rifle, a long gun?
Rifle, yeah.
Okay, and you say he had long dreads?
Long dreads.
And what kind of build?
Thin.
All right. And could you tell his race?
By his hair and the black long dreads, and yeah, African American.
Okay. Did you get a good look at his face?
No.
And what was he doing in the kitchen? Just standing there?
He was just standing there. I guess he was, there to keep things in control.
Okay. So you're walked through the kitchen to where?
To the family room, and there's a coffee table in front of the couch, and Alex is laying to the left of the couch with his hands behind his back, and my sister is in front of him. They're head to head, and I'm laid down to the right of Alex, closest to the coffee table on the right.
Okay, so now all three of you are lying face down on the floor?
All three of us.
All right. What, do you hear anything, see anything? What happens next?
They first want to find out who I am. They don't know who I am, or
Say they. I mean, you have any idea?
there was one person speaking,
Okay.
but whoever was speaking, asked Brienna, "Who's the naked guy?" And they're referring to me.
Okay, you were the only naked guy.
I was the only naked guy in the room, and
Let me just back up a little bit. When you walked into the living room, you said you saw Alex and Brienna lying on the floor. Could you tell whether there was somebody holding them at gunpoint or whether there was another bad guy, for want of a better term?
no, I just saw the man who got me out of my room with the short dreads, and then the guy with the longer dreads with the rifle in the kitchen.
Okay. Could you tell whether there was somebody there or not, or you just...
I couldn't tell. I
Alright.
was looking mainly at Brienna and Alex.
Okay. Did the stocky guy tell you anything about looking around or anything?
When I looked around to check and see if if anybody was by the doors, yeah, that was yelled at and told to put my head on the fucking ground.
All right. So you're now on the ground, and somebody is saying, what? Who's the naked guy?
Who's the naked guy?
All right. Does anybody answer that?
Brienna answered, that's my older brother. And then the next question directed toward Brienna was, where's the other two? And they must have been referring to Brandon and Will, who were present in the first home invasion.
Does anybody answer that when she's asked where are the other two?
Brienna mentioned that he was away at a friend's house, and Will doesn't live here. Brandon was away at a friend's house, and Will doesn't live there.
Any other talking?
They mentioned they were willing to wait for him.
Okay. When you say they, I mean, did it sound like the same
I-
person doing all this
Bad
talking?
English on my part, but no, it was one
That's
individual talking.
I mean, it sounded like the same guy doing all
Yeah,
this
the same
talking.
guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's the same voice doing all that.
same voice.
And he said something about what? We'll wait for him?
They were willing to wait for Brandon and Will to come back to the house.
What happened after that?
They asked where the drugs, where the money were. Again, directed at Brienna, and Brienna responded, like I told you last time, there's no drugs, there's no money. And then the response to that was, okay, well, someone's going to die tonight. And there was some pause in conversation, and then the sound of people going through drawers looking for something or breaking things around the house.
Could you see, like, who might have been doing that?
No,
Okay.
no,
So you're still face down on the ground, on the floor.
correct.
Okay. And you hear, what, stuff being broken or rummaged
The
through? or
drawers
something?
getting pulled out, thrown on the floor. There was just a lot of background noise.
Okay. What happened after that?
I think after the noise stopped, I could hear there was a wall directly behind me, and I could hear the sound of latex gloves being put on, and someone asked, let me get one.
Okay. What happened after that?
The first shot went off,
Heard a gunshot?
heard a gunshot, and that was,
Could you
Brienna.
see what or who got shot?
I only know it wasn't directly next to me, which means it wasn't Alex, and it wasn't me,
Okay.
so it was my sister.
All right. So you hear this gunshot. Anything else happen after that?
My heart just sank. And then, while I'm still thinking of, the thought of losing my sister. Alex gets shot,
Do you hear another gunshot?
another gunshot, and Alex's breathing stopped.
Okay. You could hear that? What happens after that?
And I was shot.
You were shot? How could you tell that you were shot?
Felt like somebody dropped a brick on my head, and my eyes were rocking back and forth. I was trying to figure out if this is what dying felt like.
What, could you tell where you were shot?
I just know it was in my head, shot right in the back of the head.
Could you tell at that point whether you were bleeding or anything?
The blood, I had my head tilted towards Alex, and the blood was covering my vision. I thought I was going blind, and I think I blacked out. Just the ringing in my ears, and I couldn't hear anything, and my eyes were rocking back and forth, and I after that I don't really remember much until I looked up and saw Brienna.
Now, do you think you lost consciousness at all during?
Yes.
Okay. You had mentioned when you heard the first shot, you thought it was Brienna. You thought she had been shot?
Yes.
Okay. And the second shot you knew was Alex?
I knew it was Alex.
Okay. Did you hear any other shots after the 3 shots that you described?
No.
Okay. You said your ears were ringing and you lost consciousness?
Correct.
All right. What happened after the 3 shots? So you went in and out of consciousness. Perhaps. What's the next thing you remember happening?
Just came to, and all I heard was complete silence. From somewhere, a little bit of wind, and it was quiet enough, and I just decided to look up.
Okay, and when you looked up, did you see anything?
I saw Brienna.
When you say you saw Brienna, what was she doing? Or
There's a Kleenex right next to you.
She just looked up, and we locked eyes.
so you could see she was alive. Could you see anything about Alex?
He was lifeless right next to me.
He was lying right next to you?
Lifeless.
He was lifeless?
Yes.
Did you see anything else, any blood, anything like that?
The whole floor was full of blood. I slipped on my way out.
Okay, so you and Brienna lock eyes. You see that you're both alive. What happens after that?
She mentioned they missed you too, and we just headed out the back door.
Okay. So you ran out the back. Were you okay to run, or were you physically hurt? Or?
Whatever was going on, my legs weren't doing what they should have been doing.
Okay.
They just felt like jelly, like they weren't connected to me.
Okay, but you were able to get out the back door?
Yeah.
And do you remember what you did when you got out the back door?
We went out the back bedroom, Brianna's room. I rounded that corner. I had to use the wall to hold me up because I slipped on the blood on the way out. And then we opened up the back porch, screen door, went around the pool, and I tried to climb the fence and I couldn't get my legs to go over.
So what happened when you couldn't get over the fence?
Brienna had to help me.
Okay. Did you make it over the fence?
Yeah.
And when Brienna got over the fence too? What happened then?
Did that a second time. And went to the neighbor's front door. And after all that, I just felt like I couldn't stand up anymore. So I just sat down and
Did the police come
yeah.
and the ambulance came?
Yep.
Do you remember what happened to you? I mean, were you taken somewhere?
To the hospital, ORMC,
Do you remember how you got to the hospital?
by ambulance.
Do you remember how you got into the ambulance?
I assume I was picked up.
Okay, you don't remember that too
No.
well? Okay, but you somehow got to the hospital.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long you stayed at the hospital?
We left that evening, or the next day, we were told to go to our house, and I guess the crime scene was lifted so we can go get our things and go stay somewhere.
Did you end up at some point actually going back to your house to see whether anything was stolen?
That next day we were told nothing was stolen.
Okay, you were told to look around and see whether anything was stolen?
Yeah,
And you say nothing was stolen?
nothing.
So you saw yourself two bad guys, right?
Correct.
You saw the guy with the Glock who came into your room, the stocky guy with the short dreads, you say?
Correct.
I'm sorry? I don't think we're picking up on that. The microphone's not on. When the light's on.
It's on now, Your Honor.
Okay.
My objection, Your Honor, is that this is asked and answered. Mr. Campos has already described this gentleman who took him from his room to the living room, told him, described him, he turned left, took past the kitchen, all that stuff's been already asked and answered.
In response.
I'll rephrase the question.
Okay, please.
You saw the guy who got you out of your room, right?
Right.
And you saw the guy in the kitchen,
Correct.
the rifle, long dreads. Those are the two people you've got a glimpse of.
Correct.
Did you see either of them for any lengthy period of time?
No.
Were you able to identify anybody at any time who might have done this?
No.
How are you today?
I'm alive.
We're grateful for that.
Yeah.
Do you know where you were hit in your head?
In the back of my head. Like, in the middle. I should be. You know, not here.
Sorry?
I shouldn't be here.
It's a miracle
but
you're here.
Yes.
Okay. Are you suffering any physical problems from this?
Frequent headaches and back pain, I guess from either the head injury or the fence falling over.
Okay. Just one moment. I don't have any questions, sir. Thank you. Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Campos, how long did you live at 503 Bernardino Drive?
I think since 2001.
2001? And during that period of time between 2001 and 2010, how many times had that house been broken into while you all lived there?
Wasn't broken into. My friend stole something from the house that was reported.
Okay. So you had things stolen from the house more than once, more than twice, maybe 3 times.
No, maybe once.
Once?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not including May 9th or September 10th.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Now, On September 10th, you were home asleep, correct?
Correct.
And this big man with little dreads came and pulled you from your bedroom, correct?
Correct.
Have you learned who that person is?
Yes.
And what is his name?
Donnell Godfrey.
Okay. And when you went to the, as you walk into the living room, I guess living room through the kitchen, you could, did you have a like full view of the place?
Yes, but it was dark.
It was dark,
Yeah.
but you could see, and you only saw one other person, correct?
It was Donnell Godfrey and the thinner guy in the kitchen with the assault rifle.
Right. And that guy had long dreads, right?
Correct.
Okay. You didn't see anyone else?
No.
Right. And when you heard the gunshots, you only heard 3 gunshots?
Correct.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Redirect?
No further questions.
Sir, you may step down. Thank you so much. Please be very careful on that step. Call your next witness.
State called Detective Michael Moreshi.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us. Pull that microphone up just a little bit and tilt it up to you if you would. You're probably going to need to lean into that microphone.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am. And you think that's accidental that Mr. Williams did that to you?
Mr. Ashton did that.
Oh, he did? Okay. Pick on a man that's not here. Sir, is that better? Thank you for telling us. I saw a halo up there, but I just assumed that was natural. Sir, what I'm going to ask you to do, if you would, stay close to the microphone. We've been having a lot of microphone problems in the courtroom lately. And if you would introduce yourself to the jury and spell your first name and your last name for the court reporter, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Michael Moreshi. It's M-O-R-E-S.
You got the phone